Hello, Food Management. I'm Becky Schilling, Editor-in-Chief. Today, I am really happy and excited to be here with Joe Urban from Greenville County Schools. Welcome, Joe.
Hi, Becky. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you doing?
Absolutely outstanding. Thanks.
You guys have been super busy. Just how many meals have you served so far since coronavirus started?
Today, we're going to hit our 1 millionth meal.
Wow.
If we don't hit it today, we'll hit it Monday morning very early. But we so far 1 million meals since this started.
And talk to me about how you guys are serving the students in the community, what you guys are up to.
Currently, we're using a few different models. We are using 14 schools where parents can drive up to the parent pickup line to pick up meals. They pick up 2 meals a day on Monday through Thursdays, and on Fridays they pick up 3 meals, enough meals for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we afford them meals throughout the week. We also have 70 bus stop locations that we're serving in some of our lower income areas, those people that may not have transportation to make it to one of our school sites. So we're somewhere between 85 and 90 sites at this point.
Wow.
Serving about 25,000 meals a day.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that takes a really dedicated and hardworking staff to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, not only food service staff, but we would not be able to handle what we're doing right now if not for the efforts of our transportation staff. Like I said, we got 70 buses, which require 70 bus drivers and a bunch of logistics to make sure we get to the right bus stops that are in the most need. So we have 50 nurses, I think, working right now. And those nurses are working as like our first responder screeners, and they're checking temperatures as our staff come in every morning, and they're working alongside our staff to make sure everybody's following the right practices and that they're comfortable. And so this has been a tremendous collective effort between many different departments to make this successful.
Yeah. And I know you guys have gotten a lot of good thank you notes and some flowers and things from the families you guys are serving.
Yeah, that's been very sweet. This has been an interesting time for our staff to work, and they all have chosen to do this, even though they would be paid if they stayed at home. We committed as a district to making sure that all our employees remained whole during this event, even if they were uncomfortable coming to work. So the people that are working in my program, the food service staff, the transportation staff, and the nursing staff, they would get paid even if they stayed home. So these people are tremendously dedicated to making sure that our children in our community are taken care of during this event. And to receive those thank you notes, that's been like icing on the cake for them.
Yeah. Now, you guys are a district that's known for being innovative and really forward thinking. Are you guys able to continue to kind of do some of that stuff right now, or think toward that maybe toward the fall, even with everything going on?
The fall we'll talk about in a minute, because who knows what's going to happen then. Innovation has been one of the things that really drives us, and keeps helping us push ourselves into being, a more and more progressive program. That's been very important to us. We learned early on, though, that we had to put our food egos aside during this event. Our meals look very different now than they do during the school year. We're not doing much scratch cooking other than just preparing sandwiches. We are not serving prime rib grilled cheese sandwiches. We're serving grilled cheese sandwiches. We shifted from having to serve the nation's greatest, most innovative school food to finding a way to meet immediate needs of our community, which we had no way to anticipate what that need would be. We knew how many people in our community that rely on our meals during the school year, but this is an unknown event. Nobody was prepared for this. And we scaled up from 1,200 meals to 25,000 meals in a very, very short time per day. So food ego went out the window pretty quick, and it all became what is the best, highest quality, utilitarian kind of food we could put in front of these kids that we could produce in mass quantities that they're going to be happy to eat, that's going to provide them the nutrition they need while this school closure event happens.
And I've talked to some districts and they are struggling with reimbursements and funding. I mean, not that K-12 programs don't have those challenges always, but is the reimbursement issue something you guys are seeing as well?
I don't think you're going to see anybody in the K-12 segment that doesn't say that we can use additional reimbursements, whether it's during the school year or especially during this COVID event. Um, Everybody's handling this a little bit differently. You know, like I said, I have 750 staff that work for me, and we're paying everybody their regular salary, regardless of whether they work or not. And through up until the summer, until the end of the school year, we're paying those that are deciding to work time and a half. So this is not a profitable program. This is, the funding we're receiving for this does not cover all those costs. We weren't forced to pay time and a half, or we weren't forced to pay all of our staff who are remaining at home for their safety. That wasn't a requirement, but it was necessary for us to make sure that at the end of this event, we had a staff to come back to, and it was necessary to make sure that they knew how much we appreciate them, and we're going to be an organization that's going to be here for them long after this event. So funding's an issue. There's some talk about additional reimbursement coming from the federal government for this event, both at the federal level and some state funds as well. So we're hopeful for that. We're very fortunate in that we've run a very successful program for a number of years. So we've been able to shore up our fund balance. Although this is going to be an extremely expensive event, for some districts it's going to break them. For those districts that were already operating in the red or right on the bubble, this is going to devastate them. It has been tremendously expensive for us, but our financial position was strong enough where we're going to come out of this still in a strong position and ready to move on. As soon as normal happens, if normal ever happens again, we're ready to start, serving those innovative things again.
And let's talk into normal, or whenever things maybe go back to normal. What are some of the scenarios that you guys are playing through right now with fall?
Well, there's probably 10 different ones out there. And we're trying to find a way to develop service models that are going to meet each one of those. I think everybody understands it's probably unlikely that kids come back in the fall, 100% of the students in each of the classrooms, jam-packing cafeterias. I don't think anybody believes that model is going to happen, at least in August. Who knows if it's October, November, December. So again, we understand that students may eat their meals in different locations. I mean, the cafeteria may not be the location. We haven't decided that here in Greenville yet. There's still a lot of talk about what's going to be mandated, what CDC is going to recommend, what our local health department's going to recommend. I believe a lot of our self-service and salad bars are probably gone for a little while. I think everybody understands that. I believe the most likely scenario is that a portion of our students come every day, and they may come on some different rotation schedule, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday, or however it may be, and they do some distance learning on the other days. I believe the students that are in our schools are going to be possibly could be required to eat in the cafeteria or in another area other than in the classroom, not the cafeteria. That being said, I think our menus are going to be pared down initially to accommodate that, because we got to make sure that we're developing things that can be taken quickly on the serving line and brought back safely to the classrooms. Whether we're going to be delivering those or students are going to be coming down and grabbing them themselves, we're not quite sure yet. But our menus are going to be reflective. They're probably going to be less offerings in the beginning. They're probably going to be a lot of handheld offerings in the beginning. Things that will travel well if needed, and things that will cause as least mess as possible in the classroom.
Yeah. One final question I want to ask you, because I know you're super busy serving your almost millionth meal since this thing started. What's kind of the biggest lesson that you've learned throughout this whole process?
A lot of lessons, actually, but one of the first and foremost ones is you got to have plans, and you got to have contingency plans for everything. Obviously, we had pretty good emergency feeding plans in place already. So, we found out on a Sunday, probably about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that on Monday, things are different and we needed to find ways to feed kids. So we were able to enact that initial feeding plan, but nowhere in that feeding plan was there a plan for pandemic feeding or plan for, feed people, but to keep away from each other. So we're going to revisit our plans and make sure that we expand upon them to include these new scenarios, which I think we all think may happen again. So planning, I talk about budgets and how important it is for school districts to run like a business. This is the perfect example of the situation of why that's tremendously important. Um, School districts that weren't able to um, run their programs in a profitable manner are getting devastated right now. They're devastated. There's not a school district in the country right now that's running a profitable emergency feeding program. This is an expensive proposition, from the types of food we have to serve, to the amounts of food we have to serve, to the amount of staff that's required to do it. I think my best recommendation for everybody is to, at the end of this, look at all the details. Make sure that you're running your school programs like a restaurant would. It has to be done in a profitable manner, so when things like this happen, you're prepared. And when things don't happen like this, and you have some extra funds, you can get innovative in your programs and serve higher quality food. That's my best recommendation.
I think that's perfect. Joe, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.